live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, 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 we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
So concerning this topic that we're about to discuss, I've been having kind of a spirited debate with some of my former teammates.
Shout out to the spirited debates.
Yeah, right, all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, some of them almost end up coming to blows.
Oh Lord, via the phone. Like,
oh no, I'm talking about texting addresses and saying pull up. Yes. I won't put out who did that, but
okay, all right.
No, we have a lot of opinionated folks in this group chat, and
I can imagine. Mm-hmm.
You know, I do think it's cool that we all share as much as we do, but on this topic of John Gruden and some of his emails, starting off with the email about DeMaurice Smith, who is the NFL Players Association chair.
Yeah.
Or is that the correct term for him? The chair of the NFLPA.
Is it director?
The director. Yes.
Director.
The director of the NFLPA.
Yeah.
He said that his lips look like Michelin tires, right? And very definitely has racial undertones, and I think that
no undertone. Oh, shut up. Okay.
Well, so I say undertones because of the example, or not the example, the excuse that John Gruden tried to give about the reason why he said that. And he said that, when he says that someone has rubber lips, it means that they lie a lot, which nobody believed, and it kind of would have just been better if he had owned it. But how do you feel about this? Because I want to take this conversation in a little bit of a different direction.
Well, okay, so I'm going to say this. You know what? I give people the benefit of the doubt. And I might have given him the benefit of the doubt to say, well, that probably is how he meant it, because we cancel culture and we don't give people a chance to fix nothing.
Right.
But the fact that the more emails came out and there are more things that you said that were inappropriate, you can't fix those.
Yeah.
Now it makes me wonder if that was what you were saying, right? Like, right. I'm just so I'm this. I'll say this because I talk about Chucky in joking ways, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I'm just disappointed, and it's not that. So let me not say it like that. Let me just say, not that I don't like him. I'm disappointed. Mm-hmm. In his character.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna not like you because you do something that I don't like. That's cancel culture. That's not what I'm trying to be a part of. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I'm disappointed in what he's done.
Yeah.
So he's got a different lens for me now.
We both watched The Closer by Dave Chappelle. And I think that this is a perfect example of what he meant and what he was talking about in The Closer. And I don't know if anybody has paid attention to it from this lens, but he made those comments about DeMaurice Smith, and he got backing from ownership, and people say that they were disappointed in him for those comments. But when those comments about Michael Sam came out and about his status, and being the first LGBTQ person drafted into the NFL.
Well, no.
He was
outwardly,
yes. Okay. My bad. Yes. First outwardly.
Yes.
He was asked to resign.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it was okay. That was you wrong.
I wonder, would he have resigned if no other email had have come out? Because
I figured that's where you were going.
In that email, we saw sexism.
misogynistic, yeah, all kinds of,
misogyny.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I just, I don't know.
So the angle you're taking is, was it because it offended a bigger segment of population
Mm-hmm.
that's across the board, kind of all these different people of different ethnicities and because race is a social construct, so ethnicities and all this kind of stuff, that was why it was a big deal. It would have been okay if it had just been about the Black man and a few women.
Yeah.
Because we see what happened to the whole country when somebody just talk about women and Black people.
Mm-hmm.
He won the presidency.
Yeah.
So maybe it is. I don't know. I had never thought about it.
Well, and I was thinking about it, and shout out to my guys in the group chat. The thought of it came up as I was telling you about, the contrarian of the group chat.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Justin Faust. He keeps the group chat interesting. But
clearly, yeah.
I felt like his position was very narrow, and I hopefully he sees this and he understands where I'm coming from. Not to disrespect his position in any way, because
it's his opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that in a vacuum, looking at maybe the comment, because we have friends and we joke on their imperfections or their, all the time. We talk about each other all the time, right? And so that wouldn't be considered to be racist, and so looking at an insult in a vacuum is much different than kind of the tone of what John Gruden was saying, and then to look at kind of the history and some of the other things that came out.
Yeah.
It provides a little bit of context to what the first thing we heard.
Right.
And maybe that's the reason why nothing was done from the beginning. But it just feels like, it feels like the John Grudens of the world get a hard pass. And we can't even get a Black coach to stay in the position, Well, let me be fair. Mike Tomlin has been in this position for quite some time. Marvin Lewis was in his for quite some time. And so, with the exception of them, it doesn't even feel like we can even get a Black coach hired.
Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith. How long was
he was with Chicago for a minute, wasn't
he? If I'm not mistaken, he was only there about 6 or 7 years.
Oh, okay.
And that's quite some time. That is quite some time.
Yes, I was about to say, we're talking about now. That's long. That's a long time.
So let me.
But either way, your point being, I get what you were saying, but
8 years.
Yeah, I thought he was there for a minute. Yeah. So, but we talked about this in terms of another topic we're going to talk about, but I use the analogy of sports being like the snow globe. So it's really just a smaller culture, smaller view of the culture of the bigger culture.
Yeah, it's a microcosm of society.
There you go. What's your name? Big word, Jared? Yeah, that. Yes, microcosm of society. And so he back on his SAT words, y'all. And so yes, I guess that's why, I'm disappointed in the human being, not shocked at anything that's occurred.
Yeah.
Because this is just what our world looks like. Right or wrong, this is just what it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at any of the results of this. or non-movement until that doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm not either. And did you realize that Lovie Smith was the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans?
Now?
Yeah.
Ooh, get away right now, Lovie. Go, run.
He's the associate head coach.
Run.
And the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. Did not know that.
Run, baby, run. That's all I'm gonna say, run.
I knew that he had just left. I don't know if he had gotten fired or if he had decided to leave. Probably fired from University of Illinois. I remember that he was there for a few years, but I did not know that he was back in the NFL.
Me either. Had no idea. That's awesome though. Glad he's back.
Definitely.
Haiti's there. So I want to take this in another direction because this is what it sparked for me. And now what I was thinking is what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Because I was like, because there was the one email and then they did all this digging and that's how they found these others, right? Said, I wonder what else they found. And what other coaches is probably shaking in their boots right now.
Well, I think we saw after yesterday that this is Pandora's box. It's not even just going to be coaches.
Oh, yeah, no. It says 461 emails they demanded for them to get released or something.
So it's even more. It's even more than the 650,000. Well, so what we saw yesterday was that Adam Schefter is being chided now for journalistic integrity because they saw an email from him to Bruce Allen during the lockout with him. It wasn't just a quote, it was the entire story. And he was asking Bruce Allen if there needed to be anything corrected, changed, or taken out of the story, which calls into question, his
integrity. Yeah, why are you needing to ask somebody? Right,
because if you are allowing him to do this, then this means that you're not giving an impartial story. You are painting a narrative for one side.
Wow.
So,
okay. Oh yeah, this is about to get all ugly. I'm so fascinated with this. I'm like, I can't wait. But it just made me think, like, which ones of y'all are worried right now?
Yeah.
Owners.
I'm sure some folks are worried.
Some GMs, some owners, some people that's like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to see how all of this shakes out in the end. Yeah. Because what I do know is they're not gonna let John Gruden just go down by himself.
Oh no.
So
I did think that somebody was aiming this particularly at John Gruden, but now that the lid is off, I think that, like I said, this is Pandora's box, and there's about to be a whole slew of bones coming out of this closet.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Now, what is going on in the NFL? So I feel like you and I were texting the other day when we were watching. I was watching.
You were watching
Green Bay. Yeah, I was watching the Green Bay.
You have to tell them what you said, Jared. I was over here cracking up.
What I said? I don't even remember what I said.
Said they need to wait. What's his last name? I'm so tired. Sorry. What's the kicker's last name? Crosby. Mason Crosby.
Mason Crosby, yes.
You were like, they need to make Mason Crosby walk.
I sure them did. I said he got to walk back. He got to walk home. He was missing extra points and field goals and like.
Oh God, that was so funny to me. I was like, whoa, not walk home.
He got to walk home.
Oh, but he wasn't the only one.
Oh no, he wasn't the only one.
It was 11 point after touchdowns missed on this past Sunday, which is an NFL record.
Well, yeah, that certainly is the record, and that's problematic in the sense that like that's supposed to be an easy thing. But
they backed them up to try to make it more difficult, and I don't know if this is gonna backfire.
Well, no, so
what they wanted.
They did this a few years ago, and I think this is what they wanted. I think they were looking for more people to go for 2-pointers. and to kind of spice up the game a little bit. And so I think they're getting what they want.
Okay.
You know, because kicking the ball from, well, the ball is planted on the 2-yard line, and you give about maybe 7 yards for. So what's that? 19 yards.
20. Yeah, I was gonna say about 20 yards.
Yeah, 20 yards. 20 yards looks a little different than, you know, where they kicking it from now. What is it? A 35 yarder?
35, somewhere 30, somewhere in there. But see, none of that make no, I'm gonna say what I was gonna say. I said what I said. None of that makes sense because y'all get out here and kick 50, 60 yard field goals.
True.
I mean, on a regular, like, this is all you do. You don't participate in, they put your princess butt off all by yourself so you can kick the ball.
Yeah.
From all different lengths of the field. So if all you are tasked with is being able to kick the ball through the 2 uprights, whether you be at 20, 30, 40, 50, you should definitely be able to make 20 or 30.
Yeah.
That should just be like eyes closed.
Automatic.
Just muscle memory. You don't even need to look. Just do it.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. I'm like, what is happening?
Well,
are they lazy? Like, what's going on?
I think it's a mental thing. I think that because it's like a free throw.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a free throw.
Yeah.
And even if you are someone who has like one of those 90%, you know, free throw percentages, like, you may just have a day where it's just mental and you're clanking them off the back iron.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't think this is, a symptom of things to come, because this rule's been in place for a few years now.
It has. That's what I was thinking. Like, why is this happening now? Exactly. Yeah. Why is this happening now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just weird. It's just weird. This was a weird Sunday.
It really was.
It was just like, I had to look. It wasn't even a full moon. I was like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? It was just weird all around for Sunday. So, man. And then let me correct myself. It wasn't just Sunday. It was into Monday too. Because they missed in the game on Monday too.
Right.
I was like, what is good? Did y'all all get together and say if we just all start missing, maybe they'll put us back where we were? Like, what's going on?
Well, listen, what they about to do is they about to mess around and take kicking out of the game in total. So,
oh gosh,
y'all can all get together and collaborate and can conspire.
Yeah.
You mess around, now have a job.
Right. That was just weird. Anyway, that was just weird from Sunday. And this past week of football, it was just weird. Yeah. I don't know what's happening, but y'all need to get it together. And excuse me for calling y'all princesses. That just popped out my mouth before I even thought about it. But you know what I was trying to say. Y'all just got it's a little more cushy for you than it is for the people who happen to be on the field,
Oh, yeah.
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 Just a little more cushy for you.
A lot more cushy.
So
I used to get so annoyed watching the specialists in practice.
Right.
And they just over there kind of chilling, sipping water, tossing the ball to each other.
Right. It's only so many times
running all these plays.
The ball.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. Right. But y'all need to get it together. That's what I'm saying. Get it together. Because I know 3 games at least that I know of that should have been over.
Mm-hmm.
But between missing field goals and point afters, alas, we had like 4 overtimes or something. It was crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah. It was just weird. Anyway.
Well,
I know you're ready for this next story.
Definitely. Well, that's only because I think that there's been a lot of attention on Kyrie.
He's like the poster boy of unvaccinated athletes at this point.
Well, I don't even think just from this whole vaccination thing. I think that, certainly he was going to be in the news for this. But we've been talking about Kyrie for a while now.
We have.
Like, no, really, like for some years, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah. Oh,
we
sure.
we think back to, and we weren't privy to this in the beginning, but you start to hear reports come out about, well, he wasn't too thrilled about having LeBron come back to Cleveland. LeBron came back to Cleveland, they won a championship, and he wasn't too thrilled about being up under LeBron and being treated as a son. And I thought, after looking at that interview, I can understand why he was upset about that. Because he's like, I have a father. Like, LeBron's not my father. He's just a really good teammate. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and there's that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he decides he wants his own team. He goes to Boston. They aren't really feeling his leadership style. And he decides to get up out of there quickly. Decides to go to Brooklyn, goes to Brooklyn, brings KD. Then they call James Harden, and James Harden gets fat so he can get his way out of Houston.
This whole narrative is hilarious, by the
way. And then they all team up to win a championship together.
Oh, God. He got fat so he can leave. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And so what it feels like is like Kyrie is just flighty. And I'm not even thinking about the whole, you know, the whole earth is flat thing, you know, because people have their, beliefs in whatever.
Sure.
But
some stuff's just facts, but all right.
Right. And it might be just that he's misunderstood and I don't understand. And I feel like I really make every attempt to understand something or someone and not just label them as whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I do that, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Certainly correct me if I'm wrong. But it just, everything just feels flighty. It's like someone who has a whole bunch of thoughts in their head and they mean well by those thoughts, but they all come out at once and it just has you looking around like, what?
They all come out at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is about the IG live that he did last night, right?
Yeah.
And so everything that I spoke about before has kind of led me to that point. What did you feel about that IG live last night and kind of what he said? I gave you the kind of the Cliff Notes version.
Yes, and I have a chance.
Long.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I didn't have a chance to watch it after we talked.
Well, but I think when we talked, I gave you the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you gave me the gist of it. So I just wanted to put that out there. I have not seen it for myself.
Yeah.
I just going off what you said. And again, I guess I'm feeling like I did about the John Gruden story. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is him.
Mm-hmm.
He's being him.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, I appreciate that he is not changing up for anybody.
That's true.
He gonna stay, if it's quirky, kooky, flighty, whatever you want to call it, he is unapologetically quirky, kooky, or flighty.
Right.
Just what it is.
This is what it is.
It is what it is. But I am of the mindset, of course, with the whole vaccine thing, that we are all individuals and we have our own choices to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where you're going with this. I loved what you said. And I love that he said it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you would own the fact that if this is the choice I make, I'm the one that has to deal with the consequences of it.
Right.
Not trying to throw it like some people trying to throw it back off on, well, you shouldn't be making me. No, this your rules. This what you got in place.
Mm-hmm.
This is just how I feel about it. And I'm okay with whatever happens because of that.
Right.
I can't respect and appreciate that.
Yeah.
He's being unapologetically kooky, quirky, flighty, Kyrie Irving, and standing flat-footed on it. That's what I say.
Yeah. I feel that. I think, and one of the things we talked about, like me seeing that kind of viewed his position a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's probably because I'm watching all of the extremists on the other end who's telling them, you just need to get the vaccine and you're going to miss out on $30 million. And, you know who I'm talking about.
Bunches of that. He got bunches of money. He really does have bunches of money. So like, that's not something you can hang over the head. And this is what we talked about before, because I told you who it reminded me of. Calvin Johnson. That's
right. Okay.
Because I done made my paper. I'm going about my life because the situation, because I keep forgetting everybody doesn't know sports like that, that listens to us. So thank you for listening. And we're trying to make sure we inform you as much as we can. Calvin Johnson, former NFL wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, AKA Megatron. A beast on the field. That's all I can say. Definitely. In the prime of his career, according to us, from the outside looking in, and he abruptly quits, retires. I'm done. People are like, what? What's happening? What happened? Yeah. Why is he? And so he was just this past year inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he shed quite a bit of light on why, in my opinion, during his speech, as he talked about, and I'll just paraphrase it, and it's what I said earlier. I love the fact that he said, okay, I got a decision to make. I can continue to play football, get my body bruised and abused, and pop these pills that they keep pushing on me, or I can just quit and go smoke out and feel better. Right. And he chose the latter. And he did it with well-informed. He did it unapologetically. He did it knowing that there were, like, I'm surprised they let him into the Hall of Fame so quickly, because he quit in the top of his game like he did. Yeah. But I guess it's something about Detroit. Barry Sanders did the same. Right. Yeah.
Thank God Matthew Stafford got out of there before he had.
Right. Before he was the one that was like, I'm done. But yeah, so I feel like that is I don't want to say correct. That is a bold and admirable stance to take. Right. If I'm not talking about his stance on being vaccinated or unvaccinated, his stance that if this is how I believe and how I feel, I'm going to stand on it, and whatever comes from it, I'm good with it.
That's the part of it that I appreciate it.
Love it.
That's the part.
Love it.
Hearing so many people like come out and just be so this money and winning the championship, like, I get it, and comparing these players today to the players of old, it's going to make it seem like they don't love the game as much and this, that, and the third. And I get it. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But I think that these players are just a little more conscious of what's going on.
That's what it is. I think that's real. And maybe not even more conscious, but bolder to speak on their consciousness.
Yes.
Because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, these are people who, they were. I apologize to them. But you know what I'm saying? But they just, they were in a different era. These kids can say what they want to say, and it just, you like it or you don't.
Right.
But it's different. But we talked about too earlier about this when we were talking about this, and it's the idea that we when I mean fans and owners of teams, and that we own these people. They're not ours. They're not commodities that we can own. They're human beings, and they can have their own opinions, make their own decisions, and we can agree or we can agree to disagree. Right. But we can't tell them what to do. Period. We can't. I mean, I'm like, it hurt my heart when Calvin Johnson retired. He's a Georgia Tech guy. Like, I love him. Yeah. But baby, and having to wait 7 years 7 years to hear why. And even during the time I knew nothing, I had to be okay with it because that's his decision.
That's his decision. Yeah.
I just figured it was something about his body. And he was like, I don't want to continue to put my body through this.
I thought it was the Detroit Lions organization, because following Barry Sanders, like.
Yeah, to do the same thing is kind of weird, right? Yeah, it is kind of weird. But yeah, so maybe they both did the same. Maybe they just both wanted to just smoke out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Burn it down, whatever y'all need to do.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Now, I really wanted to get to this topic,
I know.
Because I really need to gain some understanding on this and like why is this happening in the way that it's happening? And so I want to view it from the lens of the NCAA, just because of what kind of the conversation that we had months ago about the WNBA and profitability and stuff like that. What I feel like is that can't be an excuse with the NCAA. That cannot. There's no excuse for that with the with the NCAA, right? When we saw those videos of what the weight room looked like for the NCAA women's versus what it looked like for the men's, and what the food looked like there is absolutely no excuse for that.
Correct.
When discussing the business of the WNBA, I still need to understand why travel is a thing, and why travel is pretty much it's been handled the way that it's been handled for the WNBA. Because we saw this last year when the Aces were in the WNBA championship, and there was problems with their travel. They had to, first of all, they take commercial flights.
There you go. Put that out there.
They take commercial flights. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, my very first college football game was a chartered flight. Now, it was on Hooters Air, but it was a chartered flight from DC to Houston. And I'm like, at our little black college, for us to be able to have a chartered flight to a game, like, how is this not happening in the WNBA? Where's the money going?
Answer, or are you just talking, or you want to answer?
Well, so but I want the answer to be deeper than, what I'm saying, like just the surface. Like, because, and when we talked about this earlier, like,
it's your microcosm word again.
Right. Well, yeah. And so I need to understand why, and how are we justifying this, as opposed to just saying like, this is certainly misogyny and this is certainly sexism.
It's the afterthought. It's the afterthought mindset for me. That is what this is.
Right.
Like, and if you want so you want the deeper answer? It's called capitalism.
Okay.
They are an afterthought because they do not produce for the bottom line, the people who own these teams. Because it's not on the WNBA across the board to make sure that you have these chartered flights. It's on the organization. So bottom line, these owners aren't making the kind of money that they would if they owned an NBA team. Or some of them may own both, because some of these teams are in dual markets.
Right.
So because of that, you are an afterthought. The things that you need are an afterthought. I mean, I think back to, was it Candace who was having a baby?
Diana Taurasi.
No. This is some years back.
Skylar Diggins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how they treated her?
Yeah, Skylar Diggins.
Afterthought.
Yeah.
And so that whole thing that happened with Diana, that just, it did something to me. That's why Skylar was on that plane with her.
Mm-hmm.
Going back.
Right. Because she understands.
She knew what it felt like. Like,
right.
no. But y'all, I'm sorry, we're gonna start talking in code over here. This whole conversation kind of came up because of a situation that happened. We just got through talking about who's playing in the WNBA championship. And so the Phoenix Mercury, we talked about the three bigs they have. That's Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, and Skylar Dick, right? Mm-hmm. So they're playing the game. This was the semifinal game,
right,
to win it all. Whoever won was going to the finals, right? Going to the championship. Mm-hmm. So they are in the middle of the game, and Diana Taurasi's wife is 2 weeks overdue.
Yes.
At this point. And so she calls the owner, I believe, she texts the owner in the middle of the fourth quarter and says, it's happening. I'm in labor. And so he immediately goes and gets Diana Taurasi before she goes out to address the media to let her know what's happening. She runs out immediately, has to charter a plane herself, personally, out of her pocket. She, Brittany Griner, and Skylar Diggs, I guess they went it together. Yeah. To get the plane for her to get back so she could be there for the birth of her child. Mm-hmm. The rest of the team, however, had a flight the next day at 10 a.m. in the morning. That was a Saturday. That put them back in Phoenix early afternoon. So they played a game on Friday night, got back to Phoenix Saturday afternoon. Their coaches had to then get them prepared. They had to watch tape on Chicago. They had to start to put a plan together. They had to do all of that. This team did not have a practice time or anything before they had to go play Chicago the next day. So I got a couple of problems. One,
I'm about to say there's a couple of things at play here.
Who's doing the scheduling that you would make it so tight that they would have to play game go from, that's crazy. That's one. Right. Two, who did the scheduling for this travel? Because they should have just been on a plane after the game. You trying to tell me that would depend on what time leaving?
What time the plane? Because if they're on commercial flights,
yeah,
then that would depend on what time they wrapped up after the game. And I think if their game started at 7, the game's ending around 9.
9, yeah. You trying to give flights leave out till 12. I mean,
yeah, but so like it's not one of those where it can happen like that quickly, right? Because depending on where the airport is from the arena, like the ladies have to get showered, they got to get packed up. There's a whole production that goes with this.
I understand.
And so a little bit of backstory, like the time that I'm talking about that we chartered the flight to Houston, we left that night, but that's because the plane was waiting on us for whatever time the game ended. Now the game started at 7. Right. Football games last a little longer than
they do.
Than basketball
3 hours, 3 4, yeah.
So the game was over at 10:30, 11. We didn't get to the airport and on the plane and in the air until about 2 a.m. Right? And so there's a whole production that has to happen with gear and stuff like that getting packed up and all of that stuff getting moved to the location. So I understand that part. So if the game ends at 9 or a little after 9, it's not without the realm of possibility that you're not getting to the airport until 12 or afterwards. you know.
Okay.
And it may not be flights going to Phoenix if it's a commercial flight, you know, going to Phoenix.
I'm finding that hard to believe, but okay.
Well,
so
you got to take into consideration like where they're leaving from, and I can't remember where they played Friday night. So
I'm like, well, who did they play? But to your point, here's the thing: so that you don't have this issue, you charter a flight that's at your beck and call to leave whenever you are ready, so that they make it back. Since you know they got to play a game the very next day.
Right.
You fix it.
Yeah.
You don't allow that to be like, no, what? But again, this goes back to my point. They're an afterthought. They are an afterthought. And I don't care if it's a city where it's a NBA team or it's just them. They are an afterthought.
It was Las Vegas. The Mercury knocked off the Aces.
So they went from Nevada to Arizona.
They could have drove back to
Nevada to Arizona.
Nevada.
Come on now. Let's be clear. They didn't go across the country.
Yeah.
And no, you could have chartered a flight. No, don't make them ride.
No. I wasn't saying that they should have done it. I'm saying that they could have driven
how
back
short
the distance is. Yeah.
Exactly.
So they would have been back a lot sooner. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I'm just saying they'd have been home in an hour at least.
Yeah.
At least an hour. They would have been home. They'd have been home in their beds, get up the next morning. Coaches would have had their time to do what they needed to do. They would have came in early or late morning, had a practice or something.
Yeah.
They didn't get to watch film. They didn't, none of that. Just that's why they lost the first game.
Yeah.
It wasn't fair.
No, it certainly wasn't fair. You're right.
It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. And I'm sick of seeing this happen to
WNBA teams.
To people with estrogen.
Yeah.
For real. It's just disgusting.
I think something has to happen. I think that the people who are investing in these leagues, they either are going to have to say, I'm going to truly invest in them, or like pull out and allow somebody else to invest. Because it's going to continue to be a black eye on the league.
I mean, it's story after story with them. Story after story. I'm like, Lord have mercy. I just want them to just listen. There's so many things I want for them, but this is just, when I saw this story, I was like, did they said it really happened? Like what? Like, what is happening? How they play professional sport? This is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I had, until I read this, I had no idea they were taking commercial flights.
Oh yeah, no. When we talked about the Aces last year, we talked about that.
It's just despicable. That's disgusting. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's despicable.
And I want to say, what's her name? Asia Wilson was the one that spoke up about it, because she was I think she was the MVP of the WNBA last year, and she spoke out about it, and we talked a little bit about that. But she spoke about travel and how, it was just bad, and how they were on commercial flights.
That's horrible. They played in the bubble last year, though, at IMG.
Oh, no, so it wasn't last year, it was the year before.
It was the year before. Yeah, because I was like, they played in the bubble last year, but But either way, it's still the same thing. So here we are 2-3 years later, and we're still talking about the same thing. It's just stupid. I'm going to need somebody to do better. I don't care. Right. Somebody has to start it and stop being, I'm working so hard on my tongue, Lord. I need somebody to do better.
I think that whoever's the decision makers, they need to answer to this.
Do better. That's all I'm saying. Do better. Do better.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. Do better.
Right.
We need that on a t-shirt. Hashtag do better. This could be worn for so many reasons. Hashtag do better for so many reasons.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna see about getting that made.
Well, we certainly got we can reach out to cousin and
Oh
ask
yeah,
her like, hey,
Cuz got it.
yeah,
Yeah. Hashtag do. I'm gonna do that because I need that T-shirt to wear just about every day.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras